Okie dokie, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do some custom outlining on type. And there are a few ways you can do this. I'm going to show you one of my ways that I like because it gives you a lot of control. There's also a way to use a panel called the Appearance panel to do this. So first I'm going to show you the manual way, and then I'll show you the Appearance panel way. So the first way is, again, it's outlining type. I'm going to create a piece of type with my type tool. And I'll just type my word and click in my size field and resize the type using the shift and the up arrow inside of the size field to quickly resize the type. And I'm going to pick a font that I know is going to look good with this effect, which is something more solid, although you can do this with something thinner as well. Alright, I'm going to pick Cooper Standard. It looks like I overshot the text size here, so I'll just make it a little smaller. Alright, then I'm going to check before I do anything else the kerning and the tracking, which is way off. Look at the huge gap between the O and the V versus the V and the E. The one between the L and the O looks the best. And I will get the panel for type called Character. To make this adjustment, I'm clicking between the O and the V, and I'm using the kern button, which is this one, to decrease the size. And if I click this little down arrow, maybe in an hour I'll have that done. So I'm going to use shift arrow, and there, that looks better to me. I'm going to click between the V and the E and click in that same kerning field and use the up arrow, the shift and the up arrow, and increase the space between the V and the E, and now I am happy with that kerning on that type. Once this piece is created, you can choose to make it outline or not. It doesn't really matter to me. If I'm going to be making this into some other kind of more custom artwork, such as a logo for somebody, I might create outlines, but because this is just going to be a one-off, I'm not going to create outlines. But what I will do right now at this very moment with this selected is do copy, edit copy. So now I have a black version of this type with no outline on the clipboard. It's just sitting there, it's happy, and with the text that I have selected, I am going to put a stroke on it. I'm going to drag the black to the stroke control right here and increase the size of the type. The size of the stroke to something very thick that seems unwieldy and bad. 22. Okay, that is ugly. However, if I do edit, paste in front, I'll get my black type right on top of it. You can't tell it's right on top of it, but it is. And I will make that white. Alright, so one layer on top of another. Now, here's the really exciting part. Over here on the Layers panel, these little circles, I think I've spoken of them before, the meatballer. You can click on this, which lets you select something behind something else. And here's that 22-point type, 22-point stroke on the type, and now I'm making it even thicker. So it's sizing behind the type. I'm going to really freak it out there like that. Then I'm going to select the white one by clicking this circle, and I'm going to give it a white stroke and increase the thickness of this stroke to approximately that value again, which was 20. And then again I'm going to go edit, paste in front, paste in front. Again, this is the one with no outline. And I will change the color sometime soon. Bam. So then if I want to make the white one thinner, I can click this little circle and thin that up a bit. And now I'm happy. Done. Check. So this is the key, being able to click these little circle guys and pasting in front, pasting in front. Pasting in front makes sure that it registers with the one on top of it, or below it, in the case that you're pasting in back. So here I can click the white one again and increase this. Yeehaw. And here I'll click the red one and give it a stroke. And I'll give it 10. That looks good. Paste in front, Command F.
So this could be a longer.
So now there's 4. Sorry?
This could be a longer type.
Yes, it could be. So
Pretty. Sorry.
you're totally allowed. And that's how to make outline type. Now, this type's pretty basic. It's just, not on a curve. I didn't customize any of the letters. But in terms of just outlining things in general, any types you have like shapes and you want to have concentric shapes, I think it's a good idea to practice making the fill and the stroke the same color. And instead of selecting this type and putting a red stroke on it, that tends to constrain the letter form, and it looks, in my opinion, when it starts to get really thick. See what it's doing to the E?
But you can put the stroke outside.
You could, but I still think it always looks a little bit odd. So if I go to the window and I go to the stroke panel, now I'm going to talk about the other type, which is the appearance type, right here, appearance. And so here's the stroke and here's the appearance panel. And the one I have selected is the one that's being affected. It's right here. Type, appearance, and why isn't it showing me the right? There it goes. Okay, I don't know what that's about. That's just kind of strange. Like when I'm selecting it, apparently I don't think that makes any sense, but that's okay. And here I can see it's not changing it. That seems bad.
Maybe it's on the stroke.
Maybe I've lost my mind. You know why? I was hit in the face with a basketball. This explains everything. And also because I don't really like this feature and I don't use it a lot, but it seems to me that the situation here is that that's how it should look when it is selected. Yet, when I click on it, it is not showing me those values.
That's what happens when it's so high.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. I don't know if I'm going to post this video.
You can work on it.
The Illustrator world is going to see this. One thing I should mention, though, is these things, which are the caps and the corners of the lines. I generally like them rounded for the cap and also rounded for the join. Some letter forms that are more square will look really ugly if you don't change that. And then the other deal is if you want to change the font, which is what I'm going to do now. This is always a little bit scary, but I'm going to hide all these other layers. And I'm just going to pick a different font. And the font, the magical font, is going to be not Cooper Standard, but something that I think has to have curves, unless it's going to, or else it's going to look weird. So they're not curved right now. And the font that I chose here is this Chemi Retro. So then I'll hide that layer, select the next layer, click, and since it's white, you really can't see what's going on there, so you're going to have to trust me that I'm actually picking the right elements. I can't tell. Let's go to this next one and select, and Chemi Retro, and then hide, show, and select, and then one more time. What am I doing here? I want to change the font character to Chemi Retro. I guess I did. All right, so let's see if I did them all. Now I turn all the layers on and I click away, and it looks really scary. It looks bad. What happened? That was just the style of that E just doesn't like. Yeah, so I have to take the stroke off of that one. So, and then here's these weird little things. You see this look kind of like, what's that?
Yeah.
So it's questionable, you know, how good that looks. I'm going to undo 2 times there. Now, I'll select all of these at the same time by just cursoring over them, and you can see all of these dots are selected, and if I put them on rounded, see how different that looks? I don't know if you like it or not, but it does look different. Corners, rounded. It is different.
Why sometimes you have like no option under a line stroke?
You have no option.
Under a line stroke. Like for this font, you have no option under a line stroke, so I cannot make it outside, inside. This is really, is that because of the font?
No. Where?
Like you see underneath corner, it says a line stroke.
Yeah, inside, outside. It's because it's not outlines. It's text. So maybe it is the answer yes instead of the answer no. Yes, it's because it's a font. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Create Outlines. And now, does it work? I don't know that answer. That is yet another answer in my... Oh, here, this one's working. Boom,
That's so weird.
boom, boom. Well, this one doesn't have an outline on it. That's why it's not working.
So you
I'm
always
sorry.
have to make an outline.
It has. You have to take the type element and tell it to
Make an outline.
turn the type into outlines, create outlines. Now that's no longer editable text. It is now a drawing of letters.
Vectoring it.
That is why, my friend.
We use
That was a great question.
cut out vinyl, so when you send it to a vinyl machine from on Windows,
Yeah,
for like events and stuff.
I want to do that.
Put it through the outline, you send it to a print copier, and then it scribe them out on the vinyl, and you peel it, place it.
Yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to quit this teaching gig and make vinyl things. That sounds much more